Wu, and I am listening. Together, we're going to navigate through, we're going to thrive in, and we're going to grow from this present trauma or any other future crisis. Together, we're becoming better, we're becoming stronger, and we're becoming healthier together. And so today, kind of wanted to address something I touched on a recent podcast, which is what I'm listening and hearing is, loneliness, as we're opening up our communities again from the pandemic, how much connection is safe, and so forth. So it's a good thing to address as each one of us determines our own journeys and paths. So I'm going to start with a scale of 1 to 10. So there's 1, and then there's 5, and then there's 10. So this is all about the connection spectrum, and you'll have to determine where you are in any particular moment or time in your life. So let's start out with 10. 10 is when you feel absolutely connected with people, and with group of people, or that special someone, or the special your closest family members that you get along with very well. But again, this is a real 9 or 10. Not because a person can be actually surrounded by lots of people at a party and yet still feel lonely, which would be number 1, right, on the scale. So 10 would be when you feel totally together. 5 would be in the middle, where you're in solitude, and then 1 would be loneliness, or even down to isolation. So again, we're going to start with 10. So that's when you just feel so connected. Like I said on my podcast, during my college days, just a group of friends, just love hanging out together. It could be college, or when I was raising my children and homeschooling, was the homeschooling community. Whatever tribe you're at, your season of life, right? And that's where you just feel so connected with people that know exactly what's going on in your life, and that's where you're growing together on this journey. And then as we go into the 5, that is solitude, but solitude is also important, because that is also the time where you can't really be in 10 all the time. You kind of need to focus again and just kind of recenter on yourself and feed yourself again. So 5 is really important. 5 is really solitude. That's when you really connect with your own thoughts, feelings, attitudes, choices, what your plans are, your goals in life, and what you've gone through. And also that's when you connect with your inner self, really, and also the higher power. So that's really important. For me right now, I just, the pandemic, I'm always trying to turn things into the positive. So with the pandemic, I just made my apartment a meditative monastery, health spa resort. So I was the master chef, the yoga instructor, also the Bible leader, teacher, and also the social guest services person. All right, outdoor events like this, right? And I was the VIP guest at my own resort. So the meditation is just it's where you get nourished. So that one is important. And then we're going to go down to, let's say, because of the pandemic, our senior citizens, nursing homes, even in the hospitals, you're not allowed to have visitors. So you've been, unfortunately, life itself with also other traumas. When bad things happen to you as part of life, let's say a bunch of car accidents or a bunch of people dying, or a bunch of losses, then that literally these stresses in life, or even traumas or crises, will actually push you into level 3, 3 or 2, where you're starting to get a bit isolated or lonely. So when you're there in that area, just be careful, because even the fight or flight and freeze alerts may go off. So please be mindful of that and try to kind of come back increase it back up to where you're 5, get grounded, find, kind of spend lots of self-care to yourself, self-love and compassion, and really ground down that critter brain. And I don't want, just be careful. If we go into the 1, where you're past isolation, there you may feel helpless, hopeless, timelessness, and again, that will lead to despair and into the whole critter brain, and so we don't want that. So we want to kind of, if you want, I think, I get the impression people are kind of hovering around a 3 because we're in a pandemic, There's a lot of different losses and stresses, so we're kind of at a 3 right now. So I really want to help us just to try to keep always going from the 3. Let's draw us back from the 3 to a 5, that's where we have to do the work, okay? We can't control, right? Like Eric Frankl says, right? In his wonderful book, Man's Search for Meaning. We cannot control the circumstances in our lives, but we can be challenged to become the best us, right? And to find the meaning. What is the meaning? Life does not happen to us, life happens for us. So what is it that the Creator wants me to learn in this stage of my life, right? How can I be my best self and then have more to give to others, and to serve others? So how do we get back into this from 3 to a 5? Again, I'm really, been really, even for myself in my present stage in life, I am really meditating more and more on the scriptures. You can meditate on what feeds your soul, that is what feeds mine. So just constantly in the scriptures. But at the same time, I do want to address the whole mind, body, and spirit connection that I've been talking about. So there is a connection, right? We've been talking about the breath, right? Bring on the breath, right? Because the body and the mind and the spirit are just interconnected. They are interconnected. You cannot separate them. They're interwoven. So when stresses, when you're in level 3, our mind may not be able to get us back to 5, and that's when we need from the down up. In other words, there's a vagal connection. In other words, our body can actually help us to calm down the critter brain and reactivate our higher function brilliant brains, right? So I am going to demonstrate that a little bit, and I'm going to also share with you just some other meditative practices I have incorporated. I'm working on some more just to modify it for this very special time of ours with the pandemic. So let's bring on the breath, right? Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it out. 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you inhale, you can bring your shoulders up. When you exhale, drop those elbows down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Remember, with the exhalation, with the breath, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system and your peace center. Really, we're trying to befriend our nervous system. So, with the meditation also, let's do some stretches because that is good. Just kind of turn to the right. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Smell that good air. Breathe it out. Take a deep breath in. And turn to the left.
But with the temperature changes?
Inhale, exhale. Excellent. Now, when you are really in critter brain's really going off and you cannot calm yourself down, one of the mechanisms is, again, 5 senses I've talked about already in my anxiety and grounding techniques. 5 senses, right? So 5 is to look for 5 visual cues, the blue skies, the green grass. 4 is actually touch, and this is what I'm going to really talk about. Touch is so important to really quiet down the critter brain. This, just stroking the side of your arms, while you are thinking about a very pleasant and wonderful either memory or even dream of the future. And we're going to count to 20. And this is how you tell a baby that it's okay. So you are literally telling your body that it is safe, because your brain right now, because of the critter brain, may think it is not safe, right, to reopen, to be with people again. So we have to go another route. We're going to go from the body up to the mind. So we're telling our body, here I am at the beach, there's a boat behind me, beautiful scenery. Your body is telling your brain, the critter brain, that it is safe, that it is relatively safe. And that way the critter brain will be calmed down. And then as the critter brain goes offline or into the back, then the higher function and prefrontal cortex, your limbic system, yes, and your prefrontal cortex will then come back online, and we'll be able to reassess the situation with the reality, ground you down to the now moment. We're not going to be concerned with the past, rumination, toxic thoughts, rumination, and we're not going to fear the future with thoughts of catastrophe. So again, we're just grounding down to the present, And 3 would be sounds. I hear the ocean. I hear the ocean. Yes, I hear the ocean. And 2 would be smells. We're engaging the 5 senses, really getting in touch with our physical body so that we can calm the mind. Yes. Excellent. Now let's say you cannot do this because you're in a public space. Then the other option is just to stroke your cheeks. But let's say you cannot really stroke your cheeks because you're in a public space. I've been thinking about maybe this. Because when you're a child and you took your child's face and you said, it's okay, mommy's here, it's okay. So that's another calming effect. And then let's say you can't do that even. Let's say you're just, again at work or something. And just, even this is helpful. Just kind of rubbing or even going like this. And let's say the hands are not together, then you can even go like this, which is just to stroke the palms, right? Exactly. And again, to activate that mind, you're going to calm down. Let's do that again. We're going to count to 20. 1, 2, and again, you're just thinking right now. If you're in a pleasant situation or safe space like I am now, I can just focus on this. But let's say you're not, and you're in your car getting ready for work or getting ready for going into the hospital or into the fire station where there is possible threats. But you do want to calm yourself down, decrease your cortisol level, get your higher brain functions to function, and also just for your better health and self-care and compassion is something you can do in your car, before you get out to go to work. So think of a wonderful place that calms you down. I would like you to think about 3 wonderful places. Doesn't take long, right? Because you're just counting to 20. And then after you do that, in order to kind of activate the EMDR, again, remember the bilateral eye movements that Dr. Bessel van der Kolk has talked about? After you do the 20, count to 20 with the stroking and just trying to ground yourself and tell yourself, your body, and your mind, your spirit that you are safe. Then with your eyes closed, you are actually going to move your eyes laterally, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and do that for 20. So now let's say I've counted 20 for this while I'm stroking my arms, because it does feel good. It's like a hug. Then I'm going to move my eyes now. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes. 1, 2, to the right, to the left, 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 to the right, to the left. To the left, to the right, to the left. Again, these are techniques that are very wonderful to calm the anxious mind down, even will help with depression or loneliness. Also help with post-traumatic stress reactions that we're all kind of undergoing, or responses. Again, to calm the critter brain down so that the higher functioning brain can come back online, be creative, help us to connect, Twitter, new ways of connecting. To try to make sure you're grounded in the 5, and then you can reconnect with people. Get back onto the safe connection into the 8 or 9. FaceTime your buddies, and then eventually, as this pandemic leaves and things do, the quarantine does lift and open, then at least we will be set up. Our mind, body, and spirit will be so connected and healthy and strong and better, that we will be able to connect once again to a new connection, maybe even a higher, better connection than we had even before this pause and reset pandemic. Be blessed, everyone. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you are safe or relatively safe, tell your body that is the case. Ground down. Use the 5 senses, your 5 senses to ground down. Stay in the present, the now. Enjoy the now. Today, 2020, May, and I think it's the 20th. Today, I'm going to engage my left and right brain now. This is what I used to sing to my boys when they were tiny. Good morning, God. This is your day. I am your child. Show me your way. Come, let's go play. With me you'll stay. In the name of the great physician, calm, peace, wonderful body that we're grateful for, 5 senses that we've been given. Just blessings in our finances, in our careers, in our relationships, in our health, and with our connection with the higher power. Peace, safety. You are safe, you are loved, and you belong. Jehovah Rapha, and the Lord will provide all that we